Hey everybody, it's Tim again. In 1980, Remco Toys came out with their 3 3/4 inch scale Universal Monsters figures featuring Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Phantom of the Opera, and the Mummy. Came out with a couple different versions of those. One was just plain, the other one was glow in the dark. Now, well, how many years later is that? 40 years later or so, NECA has started producing their own Universal Monsters figures. They have the license from Universal Studios. And what they're doing now, it's really cool. After their deluxe figure releases, they went ahead and are doing retro style action figures of the Universal Monsters that were produced by Remco in 1980. Now, of course, the big difference is these are 7-inch tall figures. And while those originals, they had the unglow version and the glowing version, these are glow in the dark versions, but they have the same sort of style card. We're going to take a look at the cards, the card backs, take a look at some of the old Remco action figures, and let me get started by giving you a 360 look at what we're getting here. Of course, the Frankenstein one is the newest release, starting to hit retail now, although you can purchase it from some online retailers. A couple months ago, the Mummy was the first one out of the gate in Boris Karloff's likeness, and then following that, about a month ago, NECA released their Lon Chaney Jr. version of the Wolfman. So now we have the complete set, the first three anyway, and hopefully what will be a plan to produce more of these retro style figures in Remco stylings. So let's take a pause, and when I come back, we're going to see these figures out of the package and show you a lot more. And here's a look at the Remco style NECA 7-inch action figures of the Wolfman, Frankenstein, and the Mummy out of the package. Boy, it's tough to sacrifice these packages because they are very, very cool. As you can see, I tried to do as much, little as damage as possible so I can put these things back in once I get the opportunity to do that. But as you can see, they have the same kind of card back stylings as the original Remco packaging way back in the day. Here's actually what they looked like back in the day. So obviously they're mimicking that style, which is very, very cool. And if you turn this around, this is actually from a Dracula one that I had purchased. Again, it's that same sort of black and white, sort of illustrative styling. Of course, the big difference here is that it says NECA, Remco on this package as opposed to NECA's deal. But even the typeface, all of that stuff is the same. And here's a look at the originals from 1980 from Remco, the 3 3/4 inch versions of the Mummy, Frankenstein, and Wolfman. As you can probably tell, the one that they pretty much copied the most, faithfully reproduced, I should say, is the Wolfman one, right down to the entire brown wardrobe. The color of the Wolfman's fur is a little bit different, more light brown. His face is lighter green, and you can even tell from the original Wolfman that they have the blood stains coming out of the mouth near the fangs at the bottom. So terrific job with that. Same thing with Frankenstein. If you look at it, you'll notice that the mold is pretty much the same from NECA that they went with the deluxe version of Frankenstein when they originally released that. The coat is buttoned up, whereas the Remco version, it is open and it looks like he's got a green sweater on or something. But they actually use the same sort of green paint. Again, the face is pretty much the same. They got the scar on his head in blood red color. And then the Mummy, actually, on the left, probably, you look, it's the Mummy. What else are you going to do? It seems like the original one had a flatter head for some reason. Maybe it's the way that the hair is styled or whatever. But bandages are bandages, right? The one thing that they copied with the Frankenstein figure and the mummy figure is the highlighting around the eyes to, I guess, make things stand out a little bit more when things are glowing in the dark. So, overall, very impressed. Obviously there are tooling issues and all that sort of stuff, probably extra cost that goes into things. If you would have given Frankenstein the open jacket that looks like maybe a size too small with the original Remco figure. But, when you're looking at taking a card and paying $25 for this very thick card, this very collector friendly card, this thing is not going to bend. And again, same sort of styling with the packaging. I think the price is worth it. It's the sort of thing. Now, you probably saw before, I actually displayed the second version I have of the mummy that I'm keeping in the package. Yes, that's how much I love these figures in the package. Normally it's open and I might just store all my packaging just for the sake of having it in a box somewhere. But these are the sorts of figures that I'm going to want to get two of each because, again, the price, $25, relatively affordable, but also they just look so cool on the card. And the open ones obviously are going to look really, really great displayed with the original figures, the 3 3/4 inch figures from Remco. Now, the big thing that you're probably wondering is how do these things look like when they glow in the dark? Now, the Remco figures that I just showed you, they're not the glow in the dark version, but obviously these are, and that's made pretty obvious by the packaging. Glows in the dark, and of course they have the little flames around the figure in the packaging, so that looks pretty cool. So the best thing I can do is turn off the lights and show you what each of these look like when it's a glow-in-the-dark figure. I can tell you this much. When I first got it, just holding the mummy under the light, it didn't do much. You really need a black light to, there's some sort of science involved that it's above my pay grade. That when you shine a black light on these things, they seem to glow instantly. So if somebody wants to explain that one in the comments below, you're more than welcome to do that. But for these purposes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the lights and I'm going to show you what these things look like in the dark. And here we are in the dark, and I'm not going to keep it that way for long, but basically, you can get these black light sorts of pens, pick them up for relatively cheap, $10 at any sort of hardware store or department store. And again, with Frankenstein, what we have some glowing of the face and the hands. With the Wolfman, the only thing that glows is the face. And hopefully he shows up. There we go. And of course, the big one is the mummy. This is what's really cool about this figure. The entire figure will glow in the dark once you hit it with this black light. So I'm just going to take care of that right now to give you a good idea of just how cool this looks. Again, I got to be really thorough here to try to hit everything. And of course, most important is the face. So there we go. See if they all hold their charge. The mummy, not so much. Let me get him in the middle. But again, the big advantage with the mummy is that the entire body is glow in the dark. So maybe get him here. And the feet again, and the hands, and the forearms. And let me give these guys another shot here. And there you go. Obviously, the mummy doesn't seem to hold the glow as well. Certainly, the Frankenstein and the Wolfman. I mean, they go a long way. So, obviously, you're not going to get these things to glow 24/7. You use a black light, or maybe even display them under a black light to get that glow. And it's a pretty cool effect. Maybe if I took this guy and moved him a little bit closer, you could see how he looks with the glow a little bit better. There we go. Now, if I can only get everything to focus, that's the only problem here when I'm dealing with the dark. There we go. Hopefully that's going to work a little bit. So you basically get the general idea. And again, this is glow in the dark in his back too. So, and you can see where my thumbprint was right there. So yeah, the glow effect works well on his entire body, but it seems to lose its luster probably earlier than the other two, because you can see that these guys show them for quite a long time. And looks like the mummy's face is fading out, so let me give him a little bit more. And lastly, here is a comparison shot of the original deluxe figures of the Wolfman, of the Mummy, of Frankenstein. And yes, I have the bandaged head for Frankenstein, because that's a little teaser for another review I just did, which is the Frankenstein accessory set from NECA, which is very cool. So please check that out on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe for more of these cool movie toys videos. I've started off with the monster stuff, but you can look forward to some superhero stuff and just a lot more. It's going to be a wide variety of stuff, because I love anything to do with cool movie toys, cool TV toys. So again, please subscribe below, share this video, tell your friends. Quickly, if you just look, it looks like the sculpts are pretty much the same for both of the figures, with the exception of the head sculpts, which are basically alternate portraits in the deluxe packaging. So you can see that the mummy here has his mouth open with a kind of thing, and this one he has his mouth shut. Again, that's more or less to keep it in line with the original Remco figure. This one looks fairly similar to the Frankenstein one, but again, I'm teasing you here for that other review. I really want you to go to that one for the accessory set. This is one of the many things that's cool about that NECA accessory set that I just reviewed. So that's it for now. Thanks for joining me. I hope you like these reviews. Again, please subscribe. Please tell your friends. Please share it on your social media channels. And we'll have another review soon. Happy toy hunting, everybody.